It turns out William Shakespeare, arguably the greatest writer in history, didn't have such a gleaming record when it came to personal matters, more specifically, his finances. Researchers at a university in Wales discovered court documents revealing that, while alive, Shakespeare was repeatedly threatened with fines and imprisonment for stockpiling food during famine and tax evasion. The Economic Times reports one researcher said there was another side to Shakespeare besides the brilliant playwright, as a ruthless businessman who did all he could to avoid taxes, maximize profits at others' expense, and exploit the vulnerable. According to the Telegraph, Shakespeare was one of the biggest landowners in his town. He purchased grain, malt, and barley, then resold it at inflated prices. But how could a man whose work is so beloved by the world have such burdening financial issues? Well, aside from having two daughters to provide for, the lack of copyrights. The idea of the copyright wasn't implemented in England until the early 18th century. William Shakespeare died almost a full century before that, allowing others to use his work freely and without compensation. The new findings shed an ironic light on Shakespeare's tragedy Coriolanus, a play that has always been upheld as a defense for the starving poor. But now, could it suggest Shakespeare's guilty conscience? The Sunday Times describes the play as the depiction of a famine created and exploited by rich merchants and politicians to maximize the price of food, and includes the lines, "They ne'er cared for us, yet suffer us to famish, and their storehouses crammed with grain." That storyline does sound a bit familiar. The findings also suggest Shakespeare was prosecuted for hoarding and was forced to pay fines, but never specified whether he actually spent any time in jail. According to the researchers, by combining his legal and illegal profits, Shakespeare was able to retire after working only 24 years during his entire life. For Newsy, I'm Jasmine Bailey.